From across the country, the story that we are tracking today is Abhaya rape and murder case. 14 days on, Abhaya still awaits justice while the CBI probe is slowly picking up pace. The central agency is all set to conduct a polygraph test on former principal of RGKR, Sandeep Ghosh, and 4 other doctors in the Kolkata rape horror. Here's a report with all the latest details.
"14 days on, the nation continues to fight for justice for Abhaya. Raped and murdered on the 9th of August. The entire nation is united against the sick orchestrators of the barbaric crime. With glaring lapses coming to the fore, the CBI news is only tightening by the day. The CBI is all set to conduct the polygraph test of former principal of RGKR, Sandeep Ghosh, and 4 other doctors today.
पूर्व प्रिंसिपल संदीप घोष और मृतिका के 4 दोस्त जो कि डॉक्टर हैं उसी अस्पताल में, उनके पॉलीग्राफी टेस्ट कराने की परमिशन सीबीआई को मिल गई है। आज से इनके पॉलीग्राफी टेस्ट कराने का जो प्रोसेस है वो शुरू कर दिया जाएगा। दरअसल सीबीआई के सामने कई ऐसे सवाल है जिसको लेकर क्लियरिटी अभी तक सीबीआई को नहीं मिल पाई है, चाहे वो पूर्व प्रिंसिपल संदीप घोष की भूमिका को लेकर क्यों ना हो। यही वजह है कि सीबीआई ने कोर्ट का रुख किया। संदीप घोष समेत 5 जो डॉक्टर्स हैं उनके पॉलीग्राफी टेस्ट अब सीबीआई कराती नजर आएगी।
Top sources say Dr. Ghulam Azam, Dr. Orko Sen, Dr. Soumitra Roy and Dr. Shubhadeep Mahapatra allegedly shared the dinner table with Abhaya one last time. For an 8th straight day, the CBI is quizzing the former principal of RGKR Medical College, Sandeep Ghosh. Facing allegations of cover-up to being underlens for financial irregularities, Sandeep Ghosh has now been quizzed for 88 hours. With each passing day, more skeletons are tumbling out. Top sources say Sanjay Roy's close friend Saurav is also under the scanner. Sanjay Roy was allegedly consuming alcohol with his close friend Saurav on the night of the rape and murder. ASI Anup Dotto is also likely to be summoned by the central agency for questioning. Even as more and more skeletons tumble out, the fight for justice continues unabated.
Cornered and questioned by the Supreme Court over grave lapses in the probe into the brutal rape and murder of a junior doctor at RGKR Hospital and College, and facing a massive public campaign for justice in Kolkata and beyond, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is now resorting to brazen dictatorial ways to clamp down on the protests. After unleashing the might of her state machinery on peaceful protesters, the Office of the District Inspector of Schools has now put out a circular asking students not to take part in any event other than those of the Education Department. The diktat comes at a time when school students have come out in their hundreds to protest against the RGKR incident. Watch this report for more on this story.
After complicity, silence and cover-up, now it's a dictatorial clampdown. With no answers to the grave lapses in the probe into the RGKR rape and murder, the Mamata government has now resorted to muzzling the voices of protests on the streets. The Office of the District Inspector of Schools has issued a circular directing school students not to take part in any event other than those of the Education Department. The move is allegedly aimed at preventing students from coming out on the streets against the RGKR incident. The circular was sent to all the heads of all the state-run and state-aided schools by the district school inspector. While citizens from all walks of life have hit the streets to chant justice for Abhaya, the involvement of school students in the street protests has also been noticeable. Betraying her nervousness amid a public outcry over the RG incident, Mamata on Thursday unleashed her cops on marching BJP protesters to the state health headquarters at Shastra Bhavan. As a rattled chief minister cracks down on dissent, the big question is, can it hide the ugly truth of RG Kar?
A day after the Mamata police unleashed themselves on their peaceful march to the state health headquarters at Kolkata's Swasthya Bhavan, the BJP stepped up its campaign for justice in the RG Kar rape and murder case. BJP supporters surrounded the police stations at 3 separate locations across the state, piling the heat on the Mamata government as it faces a grave cover-up charge in the case. Here's a report.
Undeterred by vicious police crackdown on their peaceful march to Swasthya Bhavan the day before, the BJP took to the streets to push for justice in the RG Kar gang rape and murder case. BJP supporters came out in hundreds, surrounding police stations at Nandigram, Noapada and Chinsura. Dramatic visuals showed BJP supporters enforcing a ghirao outside the police stations, pushing for justice in the RG Kar incident. Raising slogans against Mamata government and the police, they stepped up the demand for CM's resignation, taking moral responsibility for the criminal lapses in the case and the cover-up. Earlier on Thursday, all hell broke loose near Swasthya Bhavan as the police broke up BJP supporters marching for Abhaya. The protesting BJP supporters turned over police barricades and marched on, even as the men in uniform rained batons on them. Bengal LOP Suvendu Adhikari, who was at the forefront of the march, was detained at the scene and forced into a police van. With protests and more protests, Bengal is sending out a clear message of defiance to the Mamata government, even in the face of police action.
In a dramatic turn of events, the budget session in Odisha Assembly went for a toss after the BJD and the Congress united together to protest against the ruling BJP in the state. Opposition MLAs from BJD and Congress entered the well of the House, followed by intense showdown between the police, assembly staffers and MLAs as they attempted to dislodge the chair. Why were they protesting? Here's what happened.
In an intense situation, the Odisha Assembly broke into all-out ruckus after disruptions from the opposition leaders of Congress and the BJD. The 3 days of showdown intensified on Thursday during the question hour when the opposition MLAs jumped into the well of the Assembly. The reason for their protests were different. On one hand was the BJD protesting against the illegal Hooch tragedy in Ganjam district that claimed the lives of 2 people. On the other side was the Congress, which was registering their protest against the BJP alleging misuse of ED and CBI. Watch how the elected members of the Odisha Legislative Assembly pounced onto the Speaker's chair as police officers and assembly staffers desperately tried to fend them off, urging them to return to their seats. Amidst intense sloganeering and a brawl, the Speaker was compelled to adjourn the House first till 11:30 am and later till 4 pm. However, the ruckus ensued as BJD and Congress united against the ruling BJP in Odisha.
In Jharkhand's Ranchi, tensions flared as the Jharkhand police used tear gas shells and water cannons to disperse Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha workers who breached barricades during a protest rally. The demonstrators were rallying against the Hemant Soren government's alleged injustice and failure to fulfill election promises. Here's more on the story.
Amid heavy security arrangements and prohibitory orders imposed outside Morabadi ground in Jharkhand's capital Ranchi, the BYJM began its protest rally against alleged injustice by the JMM-led government in the state. Chaos erupted in Ranchi as Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha workers clashed with the police during the protest rally. The protesters breached the barricades, aiming to march towards Chief Minister Hemant Soren's residence. Police responded with tear gas, water cannons and baited charges, attempting to control the surging crowd. Ahead of the protest program, the administration had banned any demonstration and public meeting outside Morabadi ground. The BJP has condemned the crackdown, accusing the Soren government of stifling dissent. The district administration has imposed restrictions under Section 163 of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023, banning public gatherings around Morabadi ground. Yet, the protesters pushed forward. As political tensions rise in Jharkhand ahead of the assembly elections, the Soren government is now grappling with the mounting pressure.
The Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha leaders in Jharkhand today protested in the Morabadi Maidan of Ranchi against the Hemant Soren government for the deteriorating law and order situation in the state and the rising corruption in the state of Jharkhand. Jharkhand goes to the polls later this year and the BJP has upped its ante against the Hemant Soren government. The Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha workers have also released few pictures of the atrocity against the BJP workers.
In Tripura, heavy rainfall have triggered landslides. Tripura CM Manik Saha also chaired an emergency meeting on 21st August. Roads have crumbled, homes have been submerged, and thousands have been left stranded as the state battles nature's fury. Here's a report on the ongoing rescue operations and the efforts to bring relief to those affected.
Tripura is battling nature's fury, with roads eroded at nearly 2,000 locations and over 750 people evacuated so far. The situation is nothing short of catastrophic. In the worst hit districts of Gomati and South Tripura, the centre has deployed 2 helicopters to airlift stranded residents. Assam Rifles, known for their grit and valour, are spearheading the rescue operations. Meanwhile, in a massive relief effort codenamed Op Jal Rahat, the Indian Army too has rescued over 330 civilians from the clutches of danger. The Indian Meteorological Department has sounded the alarm, forecasting heavy to very heavy rainfall across Tripura for the next 48 hours. The deluge is far from over, and the state is bracing for more downpours that could further worsen the dire situation. As the torrential rains persist, the state government has taken stock of the situation.
मेरा पास जो खबर है सडनली एक डिप्रेशन आया है बे ऑफ बंगाल में, इसके कारण ये हो रहा है त्रिपुरा में, और खास करके साउथ और गोमती और ऊनकोटी ये सभी जगह में, लगभग सभी जगह में, खोवाई में भी है, तो सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में इसका काफ़ी असर पड़ा है। और जैसे ही ये खबर मिला है, मैं दिल्ली में था, तो दिल्ली से मैं मॉनिटर कर रहे थे। मैंने सभी चीफ सेक्रेटरी से शुरू करके जो इसमें इन्वॉल्व है, जितना डिपार्टमेंट, सभी से मैं बात कर रहा था कैसे उसको मैंने कंट्रोल किया जाए। तो देखिए, मैं कल ही आया हूँ, शाम को आके तुरंत मैंने रिव्यू किए।
In response to the unfolding disaster, Home Minister Amit Shah has announced the immediate release of Rs 40 crore as an advance aid from the State Disaster Response Fund. With 11 NDRF teams, 3 Army columns and 4 Air Force helicopters already on the ground, the central government has made it clear they stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Tripura in this hour of crisis. As Tripura battles the elements, every effort is being made to ensure that no one is left behind. But the road to recovery is long, and the challenge is far from over.
Tragedy struck Andhra Pradesh once again as another industrial accident left workers battling for their lives. Just 48 hours after a deadly reactor explosion claimed 17 lives, a fire at a chemical plant followed and has injured 4 more. The mishap has raised urgent questions about safety standards in the industrial sector.
In a chilling repeat of a disaster, 4 factory workers from Jharkhand were severely injured in a massive fire at Synergy and Active Ingredients Private Limited in Andhra Pradesh's Annakapalli district. The fire erupted earlier today, ignited by a volatile mix of chemicals and liquids that generated a vapor explosion triggered by static electricity. The incident took place in the sprawling Jawaharlal Nehru Pharma City, an industrial hub notorious for its high-risk operations involving dangerous chemicals. The injured workers were caught in the inferno that engulfed the plant, adding to the growing toll of the industrial accidents in the state.
Why are they happening in the last 5 years? See, now we've come into government 2 months ago. So this is the legacy baggage that we're carrying today. So the investigation must be done, not only into how the industries are performing, but how the Pollution Control Board has performed. For the last 5 years, have they really done any audits, or have they only used it as a tool that is weaponized to target members of the opposition, which they did for one of our MPs, Mr. Jaydev Galla, and because of which he moved his multi-billion-dollar investment into Telangana.
Shockingly, this is the second such disaster in less than 48 hours.
With over 48 hours where we see that an incident that had taken place in Achutapuram's special economic zone where 17 people lost their life, well now one more incident of a fire accident has taken place in Synergy Active Ingredients Pharmaceutical Company in Jawaharlal Nehru Pharma City in Annakapalli, where we see that there was a fire explosion that had taken place in midnight where 4 people have received injuries in this particular incident. Well, now we also see that the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has also ordered for an inquiry into this particular incident. Well, however, all the 4 injured people have now been shifted to the hospital and undergoing treatment.
On Wednesday, a deadly explosion at a pharma unit in Achutapuram Special Economic Zone claimed 17 lives and left 41 others injured. The cause? Likely an electrical fault. Another preventable tragedy in an industry where safety seems an afterthought. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, who just met with the bereaved families and survivors of the Wednesday's explosion, has expressed grave concern over today's incident. As the state grapples with the aftermath of 2 devastating accidents, the spotlight is on the need for rigorous safety protocols in these high-risk industrial zones. The question now: will the lessons of this tragedy be learned before more lives are lost?